Hello and welcome. I'm Patrick Curtis, your host and chief monkey, and this is the Wall Street Oasis podcast. Join me as I talk to some of the community's most successful and inspirational members to gain valuable insight into different career paths and life in general. Let's get to it. In this episode, we have another fun chat with our interns, and I go through about 3 or 4 rapid fire resume reviews. Hope you enjoy. So welcome to, I believe it's weekly session number, 14, 12, it's a lot. But we're happy to have all you here. Thanks for joining. Hopefully this can add some value to you. It's not just about talking about the internship, but we can talk about your careers, interviews. I'd love to hear where people are at, whether you're a freshman or going into college or you're graduating or have graduated. So we have people, across all spectrums. Most are in undergrad, but we do have some graduates as well. So I'd love to figure out ways we can be helpful to you as you progress through your career and through your interviews and recruiting season. So it is August 5th. I can't believe it's August 5th already. I'm on vacation next week, so I'm excited about that. But let's start with just questions. Any questions specifically around the internship from this past week that we didn't cover last week? Anything come up that myself and Nabil could answer? Yep, Abhijit, go ahead.
Yeah, actually, I was wondering the uploaders process. Why does it take so much time to upload when the reviewing process is complete?
The question was, why does it take so much time to do an upload?
Yeah, after the second intern.
Yeah, so partly it has to do with the system where we're uploading. So part of it's getting all the images named properly, the formatting correct. And then there's also specific checks around SEO, final checks that are done to make sure that there's not like keyword stuffing, that we're not overdoing it in terms of, the number of times you're referencing a keyword. So there's a lot of checks that are going on in the back end after an article is approved or ready for upload, which is why it takes a little bit of time.
Good. Thanks.
No, good question. And the uploader team, for the record, today was the first day, I think in months, where the uploader team actually is starting to drop the number of that bottleneck is finally coming down, which was very exciting to see because it's grown to almost 500 articles waiting to be uploaded. So it was a big day when we updated that our tracker. I know Nabil's been working hard to, the editing team's doing an amazing job getting things kind of ready, but the uploader team didn't have enough people kind of helping for a while, but now I feel like it's more in balance, which is awesome to see. And, the people we've brought on full time have been really helping in terms of just pushing those live as well. So we're seeing about 20 to 30 articles, long form articles going live every single day, which is really extraordinary. It's a ton of content. We're starting to see some signs as well on the site and on the traffic to the resource section that's happening. Nabil and I are kind of now in a phase of where we're trying to discuss potentially how we can promote the content better with people, just notifying people that the content even exists, because it takes a while for it to kind of, I think pretty immediately, since they're well-written articles and they're long form and it's structured well within the site, it's pretty immediate that it ranks within the top 100 for that specific keyword. But to get any sort of meaningful traffic for most of these, you need to be getting up into the top 10, or if not the top 3. So from there, it really becomes an exercise of promoting the content, making sure you're having people link to it where possible, so that other, internet.
Getting more into the marketing side.
Yeah, getting more into the marketing side versus now we're going to have this, great base of content there and these free resources. So now it's a question of getting the actual promotion out there exactly of people to know about it and to link to it. More importantly, to link to it so that we actually get some credit there for it. So it's still, when I talked to Nabil, almost a year ago, we talked about specifically how long is this going to take. And I said, probably about 2 to 3 years for it to really be noticeable on the overall traffic to WSO, simply because WSO is hundreds of thousands of URLs. So even if you were to write 1,000 articles, it's still a tiny fraction of the overall URLs. The difference is this content's super long form. It's higher quality. It's very high quality. It's, it's done in a way that Google tends to like, in the sense of, high quality content, the proper H2s, relevant, other relevant keywords, unique examples, stuff like that. So yeah, we're hopeful over the next, 3 to 6 months, we'll start to see this, all this work from the team kind of filtering through to the traffic, and eventually, hopefully it'll help the business in terms of like just more leads for our financial modeling training and our boot camps and all that other good stuff. So it's a long road, though. It's a long road, a big investment from everyone, from you guys and from us, since there's no guarantees, right, in terms of whether it's gonna play out and how long that takes. So
It's awesome.
That's where we're at. So yeah, it's exciting. I mean, I think there's no way we could have done this without the help of all of you and without the help of just the entire intern team. With so many people, with such a large project, there's really no way to do it in a positive ROI fashion if we didn't have other value to give you guys through the courses. So the courses really opened up a lot for us, because we were like, well, we could offer a lot of other value and not have to be out the cash and go bankrupt from doing something like this. It's something where we could give value and receive value, and hopefully everyone's better off for it. So yeah, any other questions on the internship specifically? I do have another resume from an intern. I don't know if he is joining. Do you see him, Nabil?
No, doesn't look like it.
I don't see him, but it's okay. We can go through it, because I think maybe we'll have some relevant lessons for everybody else. Or if you want me to review your resume kind of on the fly, if you want to send a Word doc right now to the chat, and you don't mind kind of people seeing it or knowing it, I'm happy to do that as well, kind of on the fly.
I can send you the link if you.
Yeah, if you want to send the Word doc through here, or send the link, yeah, that's fine. I can open that up and share my screen. And if people want to do that, we can do that, or we can do a few of them. I could do like rapid fire, try to get all of you. I don't think I could get all of you, but I could do maybe 3 or 4 rapid fire, just like my initial impressions looking through it. That would be kind of fun. A little bit of a different format. What do you think? Do you think I can do it without losing my voice?
Yeah, hopefully.
Still more people joining, so it's getting to be a typical group. Yeah, Thomas, go ahead. Thomas Fallis.
Hey, Patrick, can you hear me?
Hear you great. How you doing?
Good. Yourself?
Hanging in there, man. Staying busy. Happy Friday. I'm excited for my trip next week. So.
Thank you. I just have a quick question. So I'm about a month or so into the interview, right? And I'm trying to put together my resume. And compared to people's resumes who have completed the interview or are about the end of it, they can put on their resume like, oh, I've written this many thousand words, this many articles, completed this many courses. For myself, when I haven't completed the courses, haven't written enough to really brag about it on the resume. How would I? And for myself, I'm applying for internships this winter, which it means I'm applying now. So I want to put WSO on my resume now. What advice could you give for a starter to put on the resume?
Well, I would definitely put the stuff about the number of articles you have and the word counts. I mean, I assume it's decently high at this point. Okay. Maybe just you don't actually want to put the self-study financial modeling training on there unless you're ready to answer questions about it anyways. Because that could get you in like hot water on the interviews. Because if you put like discounted cash flow modeling, valuation, they're going to start like grilling you on like trading comps and precedent transactions. So unless you're ready for it, it's actually better. Don't like over embellish there, because you'll get grilled. I think ideally, by next summer or by this winter, ideally you will have some time to do those courses so that you can put it on, because I think it does help. Okay. But yeah, I would just leave that one bullet off in terms of like the suggested thing to put on the resume. Did you see the one in the sticky to the chat on Slack? There's
no.
Yeah, so go to the Slack group. At the top of it, there's a sticky like example of how to put it on your resume. And then I would just exclude the bullet that talks about like doing the financial modeling training and stuff like that.
Yeah. And are you saying once I do the training, then put it on?
Yeah, it would, because my concern is if you put it on and you haven't actually even started it, or you don't understand the theory behind it, in the interviews, you're going to get a much more technical interview that you may not be ready for. Unless you feel confident enough where like you've studied the valuation type questions, technical interview questions, where you feel like you could still do okay. It's just opening up yourself. It looks better, but it's opening yourself up. I'm looking at your LinkedIn to try to get a sense. Like you're at a pretty non-target, right? And you're pretty young.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you might want to put it, but you just got to be ready. You got to have the technical. You have a lot. You're busy in the next month or two. Let's put it that way.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you.
Like if you want to risk putting it, you can, to try and land more interviews, because you kind of you're still young and you're coming from a non-target. If you were coming from like a top target, I'd say like don't do it, because you're probably going to land the interviews anyways. But coming from where you're coming, you may want to risk it just to try and get that first round.
Okay, perfect.
But I would like highly recommend you getting, like, your first course should be the IB interview course if you're going for IB.
Sure.
Are you going for investment banking?
Okay. Another quick question.
Yeah.
Investment banking or sales and trading were like two I was looking at. So the IB, what that course would be good for IB. Is there anything trading, like any?
Yeah, no, that the IB interview course you can think IB is like the umbrella that includes front office, investment banking, M&A, but there's in the technical interview course that's under IB, that course, there's stuff around stocks, options, currencies, stuff which is more relevant to, like, in trading, which is more relevant to S&T.
Okay, perfect.
And then when you get access to those, you have access to the company database, which also allows you to filter by group. So you could go to like specific banks. You go RBC, you could type in like sales and trading interviews, and you could look at all the interview questions that were asked previously.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty valuable.
Yeah. Okay.
And that comes along with the interview course. So if you haven't been given access to, if you ask for an interview course, you should be given access for 12 months to that as well.
Okay. Perfect. Good. Thank you.
No worries. Yeah. Thank you. Divya has a question.
Hi. So I'm an incoming freshman, so like undergrad. And I was just wondering if you could look at my resume, because a lot of the things that I have done are from high school.
Yeah, sure. Divya, I'm pulling you up, I think, on, well, I may not find.
I put it in the chat for you.
Okay. So yeah, why don't
It's in the Zoom chat, yeah. There's 3 resumes there already.
Oh, wow. Maybe I said I shouldn't have. Why don't we start the resume reviews quickly to try and give as much value to people? So real quick, I'll open this up.
Because like a lot of the things I've done are just like not really finance related.
Yep.
Like I wrestled in high school and stuff, so I put that on there, but I'm not sure if I should have.
Can you see this?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so let me see here. I'm gonna open this. So first off, I would get it in a format, our resume template format, which is I would just do that. It'll just clean things up, make things a little formatted a little bit better. You need to get it to one page for sure. Okay. Definitely as an incoming. Like there's no reason to have it on a second thing. I get the Wall Street Oasis internship up there with something similar to this, and there's a sticky up in the Slack group that'll show you kind of how to talk about it. So what you're going to do is you're going to want what school are you going to?
Rutgers Business.
Rutgers. Yeah. So I would put it like more like this, where like you don't have your high school shouldn't be like, it could be you could have your GPA on there because obviously it's very impressive. So I think and like this is great too, especially since you're so young and coming in. But like I would do it in this format where you have like Rutgers Business School, Rutgers expected, class of whatever, and you can say, you won't have a GPA. You can say incoming freshman or something like that. And then you could have something like high school, took 5 APs in macroeconomic statistics, calculus, language and composition and literature, scored
Should I
5.
have said that I took more than that? Because these were only like the relevant ones.
Yeah, well, you could say took 8 AP, 8 APs, and scored 5 out of, 5 on 7 out of 8 or whatever it is,
Okay.
Whatever it happens to be, and just put that in there as a bullet. But I don't think you need a whole new section for your high school.
Okay.
Unless it's a really well-known high school. I don't know. Is it public?
It kind of is, yeah.
East Brunswick. Yes.
Huh?
Yeah. So maybe you put like 2 bullets for your high school here. You might need it anyways, to be honest, because once you get rid of a lot of the fluff, you may not want to have so much around like volunteer and all this stuff. So like I would do Rutgers first, right? You're not going to have much there, right? Because it's just incoming freshmen for class of right? And then you'll have, your high school GPA there, just like this. And then instead of a new bullet for each of these, just have AP tests, including macroeconomics, scored a 5 on and just one bullet. And then the awards here can go under, if I go here and show you, it can almost go under like a section here, like certifications, or you could put awards there.
Okay.
And list them out here. You don't want to, so most of your stuff is going to be like your challenge to be like, you've done a lot of extracurriculars, you're a leader, you've scored great in school. Most of your difficulty is going to be around like deciding what to include and what to remove, and how little space to give to. And I think a good rule of thumb for you to follow is the more impressive and hard it is to do, the more space you give it on your resume. And that weighted with how relevant it is to whatever career you're going after. So you're going to business school, I assume. What are you targeting? Do you know yet?
Finance.
So like anything more related to finance, you'll give a little more airtime to. But given you're super young and you're just coming in, like, I mean, you look like you have a very impressive resume. It just needs to be formatted better.
Okay.
And just cleaned up to look a little more like a professional resume, and definitely only 1 page. And so your struggles are going to be, as you start stacking internships like WSO and some others, is going to be deciding what you start cutting out and leaving off. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So like, yeah, this is cool. Math Honor Society. I think these are good. But like, yeah, your additional information, like you could add another 1 or 2 things here. Like leadership, you have this whole leadership section. Like I would do the 2 most impressive ones there. Yeah, I'm looking to see if what's most financy. Yeah, like this, like managing the wrestling team. Like you definitely don't need that many.
Okay. So like I could just get rid of the entire section for that.
No, I mean I think it's good to have that as like a line or a bullet, but not like 5, not like 7 bullets.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Just show that you were like active, like just this line.
Okay.
And then volunteer experience is great. And then just on your bullets, our proposal of creating a homeroom period was implemented. So what does that mean? Give me more like to try to quantify your bullets more.
Okay.
So kept track of matches. How many matches of my teammates? How many teammates? How many tournaments?
Okay.
Leading to a blah, blah, blah. Why did that help the team? Why does anybody care? Why does that make you special? Right. So keep asking that question. Like, is this bullet really adding a lot to my resume? What is it showing that people that work in finance want to know? It doesn't mean you're really good at organizational skills, right? Does it mean that you're like a really hard worker? You can multitask. So try to get a sense of like what you're trying to convey with each bullet. Remember the resume. Don't think of the resume as a list of your accomplishments. Think of the resume's job as to get you the interview, period. Okay. So you don't want to throw everything at them. You want to pick and choose what's the most impressive and shine those to get the interview, and then you can talk about all the other stuff. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, good luck. Let's see. Maybe I gotta let in a few more people here. And then Nabil, did we have another one in the chat? We did,
Oh,
right?
yeah, we do. Yeah. We have a couple more. One's from Abdulaziz Rashidi and another one from Abhijit.
Okay, let's look. Abhijit was talking first, so let's pull him up.
Google Docs.
So, Abhijit, let me just load this. Let me share my screen again. Okay, and this is all cold. I haven't seen your resume yet, so. Okay, a couple things. Abhijit, are you here?
Yes.
Can you tell me what your goal is and where you're living and what's your status? What's going on? You're in India?
Yeah, I'm in India right now, doing masters in physics. I'm learning like technical stuff, majorly like computational mathematics and stuff.
Uh-huh.
So I'm trying to get into quantized, like from computational side in a sense.
Quant funds, like a quant fund, is that what you said?
Yeah, quant
Okay.
funds, hedge funds from the quantum side. Yeah.
Awesome. So things I like here. It's one page. The font's a little funky.
I started out trying to be different, and then like stuff just got added in, and then it got janky really soon. So it's
Yeah, so I think for any sort of quant fund, I think a lot of them want to see. I think the technical skills is good, but where are you applying to roles?
hedge funds, majorly yes.
So I think in order to get in there, if it's a quant fund, and I know less about this to be fair, okay. So this is good. I'd almost like your work as a finance future analyst is good, but like I almost want to see more. So Pinewood Capital Management co-founder, investment portfolio development. So, but like you're a co-founder of this, what is this?
That's a startup I'm working.
But
It's
what
kind
do
of
you
a
do?
hedge fund. So it's like a cryptocurrency which is backed up by the capital. So the capital gets invested as a hedge fund, and we are the hedge fund managing the capital.
So you started your own hedge fund.
It's in a sense cryptocurrency company which manages the capital as a hedge fund.
Sorry, it's a what as a company?
I would say cryptocurrency company as a name.
Sorry, you can slow down. What you're saying?
Cryptocurrency company.
It's a
Crypto
cryptocurrency company. So like, just me asking you this, I don't know what you're doing. Like, this tells me literally nothing. I much rather, if you're applying to quant funds, I much rather see like Python, MATLAB, this stuff more featured. And then like, isn't like back testing and other like stuff related to markets specifically and modeling markets specifically more important?
Models and backtest.
Yeah. So like, where is that? Here a little bit?
I mean, I did it in the, I guess, machine learning, Matplotlib, Seaborn. You can do that. Okay.
MATLAB here. Yeah. So I'd almost give this stuff more prominence if you actually put a lot of hours in it. Because that's going to give you, that's more kind of targeted around the jobs, the skills that you're developing. So maybe bring your coursework up, bring your experience down, because you're still like, you just graduated or no?
No, I'm going to graduate in 2025.
Yeah. I mean, you still have so many years. Your education and your coursework stuff, I think, needs to be above the experience. The experience right now is, the internship's good for like showing that you're motivated and all that stuff, and you've done self-study. But this co-founder thing, like, you need to get much better at explaining this and like, or making it more clear. This is also just feels weird with these indentations. Like, I know the quants won't care as much, but it's anyone trying to read your resume, it's a little bit hard to read. With the spacing, like this is way too close. Objective statements, I'm not a big fan of. I think if you're applying to the job, your objective is to get that job, and I think it's usually a waste of space. So I would just let your education, maybe put that up at the top since you're still in school. Put your coursework and your projects kind of in undergrad.
Yeah.
Okay, financial thesis. Probabilistic approach to the fundamental analysis and negating the linearity of exponential growth for finding net present value. Accepted into the International Journal of Science, Engineering, and Research. I mean, I think this is a big deal. right?
Mm-hmm.
What percentage of papers get accepted into that journal?
I'm not actually sure.
You should ask them.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can make your bullet much stronger if you're saying only accept 1% of submissions or something like that.
I'll have to contact them.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just like try to quantify a little bit more. I think I don't know what's most impressive, your projects or your coursework that's most relevant to quant funds, but I suspect it might actually be the coursework. And if you could do something more about like projects, and I think you'll have
a lot of like physics related projects that I just didn't add because I thought it's very irrelevant.
Yeah, but the question is like, can you answer interview questions around it? And can you explain it?
Like, it's not relevant, like physics research, okay? So I didn't add it in this.
The physics stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so unfortunately, I'm not more help, but I think the formatting, you could definitely clean it up. I think you definitely probably want to feature more of your like technical skills here. This is a little bit kind of understated, which I think that's what they're going to want to see. And not just like listing it, but maybe, like you said, featuring the projects that have these skills to show that like you actually have this, and it's not just a line.
I actually worked on a couple of like forms. Maybe I could showcase that if that's possible.
On comps, you said?
In couple of this, like I made this bot that traded automatically.
Well, yeah, that should absolutely be in here. If you're talking about quant funds and hedge funds, algorithmic trading, like that should be one of the most biggest featured things on your thing. You should talk about the performance, even if it's bad, and how like you iterated.
That's the major reason I didn't add it in, because it didn't make any profits.
No, but that's like exactly, but just to show that you knew even how to start and do that and write that things, and then talk about. Then like the whole interview will be about, okay, what signals did you use? What did you find? Why not? Why didn't you think it worked? That type of stuff.
Yeah.
Why did you give up? Or, all that type of stuff. Back testing. I think that's the stuff that's really going to show them that you are passionate about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd focus on that and kind of restructure it a little bit. Because the experience like this Pinewood, like crypto, the currency, if you're not like very clear about exactly what you did and why it's impressive to the quant funds, they're not really going to care.
Mm-hmm. Like more quantify. Okay,
yeah, and then like ideally, like research and author 20 articles on finance, valuation, Excel. Like I'd be authoring articles on like quant and trading specific stuff. I'd hope you're assigning yourself those.
I didn't find any particular ones. Like I did find a couple of those. I did like make a couple of articles on that, but not measured.
But why don't you list those out rather than like finance and valuation kind of generic? They're not going to give a shit about accounting, right?
Yeah.
Or probably not. But that's my general advice. Is that helpful at all, or does it kind of leave you lost? I feel bad.
No, it's helpful. No. It's still like just formatting and making like thinking about the person who's interviewing. That's like,
yeah. You should make it specifically for quant funds, and if you want a different one for finance, that's fine. You can be a little bit more general, but try to really think about where you're applying and the job you're trying to land and what they care about. Mm-hmm. And then be more clear. If you're going to say co-founder of something on there, they're going to grill you on like, what is this? What did you do? What value to add? What do you mean co-founder? What do you mean hedge fund? Mm-hmm. So if you're not ready to talk about it and you're going to kind of like step around it and tiptoe around it, then just don't even have it on there, or have it less featured. And give me something to chew on. Like, how many hours did you spend on this? Like, you know what I mean? You interviewed 5 people. Like, I don't care. Like, so what does that mean? You know what I mean? So like, I rather people are probably gonna be more impressed with like the failed back testing model and the technical work you did there, because it's much more relevant. It shows that there is already interest there. There's already experimentation there. There's a journey, right? You're trying to learn and understand. To me, I think that's much more interesting. And I think it'll be more interesting to those people versus some cryptocurrency exchange thing. Unless you can get more technical on here and show where your technical skills helped.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that helps.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Let's see if we can help anybody else here. All right, let me see if I can open up duels here. And if anybody else wants to send,
there's one on Word. It's above Abhijit's. I think that's probably.
Yeah, Abdul. That's what I'm trying
to. Abdul. Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Let me see if I can get it. Sorry, I'm just trying to get it set on my screen so I can properly give you feedback. Okay, here we go. It's so funny. I've done, how many of these, Nabil? I've done maybe 5 of these, 6 of these. I feel like I'm starting to repeat myself already. All right, here we go. Let's see if I can share my screen. And yeah, if you guys want to, you can jump off. There's no requirement to stay on this. It's only if you're interested in learning and hearing about this. Okay, so Abdul.
Hey.
Hey, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. So give me a little bit of background, just overall in terms of where you are. Sounds like you're getting, you initially got an initial degree at a community college 2018, and then you jumped to BSBA at Georgetown. Okay, and you're graduating soon, really soon.
Yeah, I'm graduating this fall. So yeah, I'm located in Alexandria, Virginia. It's close to Washington, D.C. And I'm doing finance and management double major, and I'm looking for investment banking jobs, probably here or in New York.
Okay. And so if you're looking for investment banking jobs, I can definitely help you there. So a couple of things. I'm like broken record here. This huge block of text is a mistake.
Okay.
Simply because no one's actually going to read it. Think of something as like, it's the same reason why one of the rules of this internship when you're writing is when people are reading online, or even, if they print it out maybe, but most of the time people are going to be reading online. Reading a large block of text online, especially at this font size, is incredibly difficult. It assumes that people are going to take your resume and spend a few minutes with it, when in reality they have a stack of 100 or 200 resumes and they're going like this: flip, flip, flip. Kind of interesting. Okay, flip. No, no, no. Maybe. No, no. Yes. That's literally what it's like. So all you're doing here by having 2 pages and having this big block of text at the top is you're making yourself look like you don't know how to apply to these jobs. You're making yourself look like you don't really actually know how to sell yourself. Okay. So I think if we remove this, get all this out of here, education up at the top, this is great. GPA is a little low, but it's fine. It's not the worst. Could you have some relevant coursework in there that's specific around finance?
Yeah, I do have so many classes in finance.
So yeah, I would do some of that, like economics, anything around financial statements, M&A, options, futures, derivative, anything financy. I'd get that in there. How about jobs? When you were at the community college or when you were doing other stuff, did you have a part-time job?
Actually, no, because I was just focusing on full-time studies and was not really prepared for that.
No, that's fine. But did you? I'm just trying to see, like, for your 4 years, or was it 4 years? Yeah, for your 4 years at Georgetown. How about like, let me see, professional experience. Yep. Okay, great. Principal and CFO. This is great. Yeah, a lot of great leadership, professional experience for somebody who hasn't graduated yet. Oh, and you were a tutor.
Yep.
Great. Okay. So to get this on a one line, get this on a one page, I think obviously this will help getting rid of this. The awards, I think, need to be, especially if it's just Dean's List, like you can literally put that, like your GPA, unfortunately, yeah, you got on Dean's List 3 times and Dean's List once, right? But it's something that's all this is doing is like giving me more attention to your GPAs. Right?
Yeah.
So like, I actually think just getting rid of this is probably better for you because, yeah, the GPA at North Virginia was great, but they're going to care more about the Georgetown GPA. So I think you want to get away from like anything really. And people know Dean's List, and this is just GPA merit, right?
Yes.
Like everybody knows that. So just get rid of that and for awards, unless you have something specific, I would remove that. I think your professional experience looks the most impressive so far, right? So I would focus on that. So finance research analyst, this is good. Again, I would highly recommend you look at how these bullets, how we did this. If you can if you're looking for banking, getting the financial modeling valuation courses listed on your resume, over 200 hours of self-study, getting that here as the top experience is going to actually pay a lot of dividends in terms of you landing more interviews.
Okay.
But you need to get that like listed up there. And so this is all again on the top of the Slack group. I highly I think Nabil, did we link the actual resume template as well so people can use that? If not, can we link that? I think it's linked up there.
It's not linked.
It's not like we can drop it here.
Oh, it's on Slack.
It's also under the resources. If you just go to the website, wallstreetaces.com, and you hover over resources, there's something that says investment banking resume template right there. You can just grab it from there too. So if you add that, so this is actually really interesting. So State Corps Logistics. So you landed this in you've been working in Afghanistan, right?
Yeah, this was where I was born in Greenville.
Right. This was prior to you coming to the US?
Yeah, it was before 2015.
Got it. Okay. So I think for this, let's even okay.
Yeah, it was a small business. I co-founded that business, so I was able to get some awards from the US government and the Middle East.
Yeah. How much were the contracts for? Can you put that in? Are you allowed to? Or is it not impressive?
They are medium. I can put in.
So you might want to consider putting that in.
Yeah.
And the length of the contracts. This is I think you know what's going to be tough for people to get over? The fact that you have like how many years of experience? You've like 5 years of experience before you went to school, undergrad in the US?
It's kind of, I think it's making it irrelevant experience because I'm applying for most banking jobs, and this is kind of contracting you.
It's contracting. It shows good leadership, but like it almost screams like you should be an associate because you're managing people, right? And so the fear of people interviewing you for an analyst role is he's not going to want to be, at the bottom.
Yeah, it's
you almost have to assure them that you're not around that, or you're not scared about that. You could almost combine these. Is it the same company?
No, they are different.
Not what?
I said they are different.
State Corps Logistics and State Corps Incorporation. Did you create them both?
No. I was working the first one, and the CEO was kind of my friend, and I asked him, can I use the State Corps and kind of bring another license under State Corps Logistics, and he agreed to that. And I opened my own under State Corps Logistics trademark.
Got it. Okay. So, I mean, you might want to combine, it's kind of similar type work. You might want to just combine them for simplicity for the reader. Since you're doing similar type work, right?
Yeah.
So it might be better just to not complicate it, just have one of the names and just have it like you were contracting officer, and you could say you're promoted to principal and CFO. So it looks good. Instead of getting into like the fact that he's your buddy and he just helped you. My proposal deadlines. Yeah. Cause like a lot of this stuff is good. I think any more you can like quantify this, met proposal deadlines, it's kind of vague. Successfully coordinated submissions and collections. How many, what's the budget? How did you improve things? How did you actually have an impact yourself? Can you quantify it at all for me?
Yeah, I can quantify them.
Yeah, definitely quantify more, like studied RFPs, RFQs, how many, what did that lead to? What was the outcome? So like, you should think of every single bullet of like, here's what I did, or here's what I did, what it means, and here's the outcome of what I did. And the more specific you can get, and the more impressive it can be around the specific numbers of what you did, the better it's going to look and the more believable it's going to look. Like the fact that you said 2 contracts actually makes me like really like hang on to that and be like, okay, cool. Well, was that impressive? Like, I don't know. You know, it's hard for me to know. So like kind of talking a little bit more of like 1-2 contracts that increase revenue by, 30% year over year, the fastest run rate in the history of the 20-year corporation, whatever. Do you know what I mean? Something a little bit more like I can grasp.
Yeah, the company where I worked as a contracting officer was from 2010 to 2015. Was the biggest U.S. government contractor back in Afghanistan. It was kind of competing with ACOM and some other like Lakeshore and some I don't know, like to some other companies.
Yeah,
forgot them. So yeah.
So
we had like 40 projects. They were like all worth like 300 million.
Yeah. So like, I think you give me some of those numbers, give me some of that meat on there that shows that like you were involved with that and responsible, helping lead that company, or helping, at least help the growth there. I'm not saying to pretend like you were CEO or anything, but just, try to show what your contribution to that impressive growth.
All right. Makes sense.
And then like the academic tutoring, like this is great, but I think this should be mostly like in a, this academic tutoring experience, you could almost, I think it's actually really good to maybe help strengthen some of your educational sections. Because was this this is while you were at Georgetown or no?
Kind of community college. At Georgetown, I had bad time. I had a concussion, so that's why my GPA dropped. But
you had what?
I had an accident, so I had a concussion, and that's why my GPA dropped, and I was under some mental health issues.
Okay. Yeah, don't use that excuse during an interview, just so you know.
No, I'm being honest only.
Yeah, I think that's good. But like, even if it's the truth, I think it's better to say, oh, well, I had some family stuff, or I had to help take care of family members or whatever, even if it's yourself, just because like, I feel like if there's still a lot of bias around that, I think it's totally valid, but I don't want to hurt your ability to land the job. Okay. Right. So they're going to be nervous. Like, is it still around? What's the after effect? What's going on? Right. So it's going to make me nervous. Right.
Thank you for the tip.
So just be careful on that. But yeah, I think it would be good to have the tutoring up under maybe North Virginia here. Tutored over 40 students across statistics, macroeconomics, managerial accounting, microeconomics, and financial accounting.
Yes. Okay,
one line under there, under your North Virginia. Okay. One bullet. And I think if you do all those things, I think it's going to be a little bit stronger, especially the stuff where you're getting more of the valuation. And then I don't know if you have extracurricular volunteer experience, like additional information down here. I think you can put your language skills down under there.
Okay.
Language fluency, I'd put that like here. Modeling, I'd hit it again based on what you said in the internship, but I'd literally list it again: valuation, M&A, LBO modeling, DCF, whatever you are studying. I think you want to show that you're proficient in the proper tools, Excel, PowerPoint, Kappa Q, if you have it. Don't list it if you don't know it, because they're going to call you out on it. And then try to have something around interests. So do you like riding, cycling? No, but you get my idea. Try to have a little bit more of a well-rounded, show them a little bit about your personality in terms of what else do you like to do. Okay.
I have addiction, but not always. Like chess and stuff.
You have a what?
I have an addiction of chess, playing chess.
Oh, perfect. That would be great under interests. Especially get me more specific. Do you like speed chess or a certain type of chess?
No, it's rapid chess. It's like in 5 minutes, 8 minutes.
That's awesome. Put that.
Okay.
Great. Yeah, it's perfect. Hopefully that was helpful.
It was helpful. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. I last. Here you go. Ayla says, I finished 5 articles and now working as a preliminary editor. However, I'm not planning to take the courses until I finish my internship. Is it okay to do so? Yeah, it's totally up to you when you want to take the courses. We were just talking about specifically like when you should actually include it. Like, should you include it or not? I don't even know if Ayla's still here, but for those of you thinking about like the timing, yeah, there's no time restriction in terms of when you need to take the courses or not. Anything else? Any questions on those reviews? Any disagreements? Does people think, no, you're wrong? I'm happy.
I just wanted to ask for one of the articles I'm doing right now. It's about the difference between getting fired and getting laid off. And one of the interns he was writing about, he's giving resume advice and stuff for how to explain being laid off or whatnot. And first off, I would not know. You and Mr. Hidi for the people I can think to ask, but what is like WSO's take on that? Because he gave a ton of resume advice and whatnot, but I don't know if it's consistent with what WSO would say, and I don't want him to write something in the article that isn't, for example, what someone on their resumes would do. Is there someone I should ask specifically? Or
I don't think on the resume you should be like extrapolating, like trying to explain why a job ended, unless there starts to become a large gap between like when you're applying. So like eventually you have to say, ideally you're looking for a job before you lose your job, right? And they give you a little bit of heads up. But if that's not the case and you're laid off because of whatever company-wide layoffs, I don't think you want to have that negative association on your resume at all. I think you just want to put the date. And then since you're not just dropping your resume into a black hole, you're talking to people about your candidacy, I think that's in those messages. That's when you say, I was laid off in the company-wide job cuts here, if they, as kind of an aside, but more about like, you're really interested in the thing, and it should be more positive about like what you could add, how you can add value to a specific company, and not like featuring or apologizing the layoff.
I see.
If you're fired, it's even more so like delicate.
Yeah.
You should not be putting that on the resume.
Mr. Curtis, but he says some of the advice was like, just don't say you were fired, or like one of them, it was contradicting because he took it for 2 sources. So one of them was like, you have to be honest about it. And another one was like, just lie. I don't feel like you should lie. Maybe that's just me.
No,
I feel like they're going to see that and throw it out.
No, you don't. So I think, I mean, this is relevant to me. I mean, I was let go / fired from my first job in private equity. So, I mean, what I did is I listed the job, put my responsibilities like anything else, and then I had to have an end date, right? And then that didn't stop me from getting interviews. And then when people ask you, why are you leaving? At that point, you have to say, well, it didn't work out culturally, and you have to come up with a story of whatever happened. Now, my situation was a little bit tricky because I wasn't even sure why. So I had to talk about, well, they felt like my skill set was better suited for investment banking. So it raised some red flags, and it made it really difficult for me to get my next job. But I absolutely would not. I mean, you can't, number one, you can't just hide a job, especially if you're there for more than several months, because then you have a huge gap in your resume and it almost looks worse. If you were there for like a year or two, what are you going to say? Like, you never were there? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, right.
So that's kind of silly to like say it never happened, like to pretend like it never happened. You don't have to say like, you don't legally, most places, at least in the US, they can't say like, oh, they were let go for cause or for like, if there was no cause, they can't be like, oh, they were horrible or whatever, don't hire them. Typically what'll happen is if you leave and they want to pay you like some sort of bonus to leave, you typically have to sign something that's like a non-disparagement clause saying like, oh, I'm not going to speak ill of the company, blah, blah, blah. And we'll confirm that your dates, you worked here and blah, blah, blah. But I think the best thing you can do is almost get on the same page with the previous employer and say, okay, but can the actual talking points be that, culturally it wasn't a good fit with this, or like the types of deals I wanted to do didn't really match up with the type of deals we were doing. There wasn't enough kind of match it up. So it's almost like more of a mutual decision. I think that's fine to do to help you land back on your feet, but it should be done with the former employer, almost like negotiated with the former employer so that you have your story straight when you're going to apply to new places. Because what you don't want to do is kind of like cut off that communication, not have something worked out, and then specifically have to go to the market with reference checks going to the old company, and they're being very, very much, yes, he or she worked here for these exact dates, and that's all I can share, right?
Oh yeah, that sounds bad.
Then it's like, what did he or she do? Oh my goodness, were they like stealing from the company? Stuff like that, right? So I think it's a very tricky kind of thing to do. I don't think you can lie. I think you can get on the same page of like reasons why you were let go. If it's company-wide layoff, it's easier. I don't think you put that on the resume, but I think it's easy to talk to. It's like, I got caught up in the layoffs here because of this and da-da-da. Still doesn't look good because why were you the 10% that got cut? But it's more understandable if that's you know what I mean? If that's
I see. So for cases like that, if there's a good reason they can find, should they give it? Should they be like, oh, maybe we had a merger and they already had their own customers.
Yeah.
Service department, they made us redundant.
But I wouldn't put that in the resume. I think anybody that's doing research will know that the company was recently acquired and suspect probably something like that happened. And then since you're not just dropping your resume off in a black hole of online applications, you're actually following up and asking to talk to people. With their first questions gonna be like, well, why are you leaving? I'd be like, well, actually, I was, I was one of the 10%. I was in the layoffs that recently happened with the merger. So that's why I'm looking for a new role. It's just like that. And that's much better way to go about it versus like featuring it or like calling attention to it. Try to just make, what you did there more tangible. I mean, the best thing you can do is make the actual bullets and the experience stand out and show that you actually had an impact.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That answers a lot of my questions, and now I can actually use that to fill out the section.
Okay, good. I'm glad it was helpful. Thank you for being so diligent on the editing. Yeah, Abdul, go ahead.
Hey, so this is related to internship. So there are like hundreds of articles that are being reviewed by I don't know, it's prelim editors or chief editors, but still kind of the interns I think already left, so we don't know who is there and who is not there, and it's kind of difficult to find those people back. And I don't know how the process take, like how they can access the courses, or we can make it something like difficult for. I know it's kind of going to be troublesome for some interns, but this WSO is our home, so we want to be honest to it, and we don't want to have it like thousands of articles waiting for. Kind of interns reviews or stuff. So I think we have to be proactive than reactive, and kind of preventing that problem in the future. So are we going to have like a list of interns giving to the chief editors to know who is there and who is not? So if not, the chief editors can kind of apply all those edits and put it for upload.
I think Nabil and Josh have been kind of calling out when someone's leaving soon to try and get those edits done first. And the editing team has actually been doing a great job of reducing the number of edits that are waiting. It still doesn't mean we've fully gotten through the bottleneck that we had earlier in the summer. So yeah, we absolutely, we're trying our best to get more people moved to the uploads and to the editing, although the uploads is actually a bigger bottleneck right now than the editing. But yeah, we still, I think there's specific rules around like if it's been sitting in prelim review or ready for upload for, I think, over 2 weeks, and the credit's given for that article anyways. So we're still giving the interns the rewards based on if they finish and all the articles haven't been reviewed. All those rewards are still given.
And what are we going to do for that? Because if an intern left like in May,
the editors will have to take that on. The editors that come in have to take that on and help edit it and improve it.
I was just thinking if we can give a list of interns that already left, and the editors will know who left, so that editors can act and do that. And because of an editor,
that's a good point. Nabil, any thoughts on like, would it be possible to do that? Do we have a list of like, or is that
completed? So there's two things, right? So what do editors do now is message them, and then usually if they're not in the internship, they're not in the Slack group. And if you don't get a reply in a couple of days, just fix the article, basically. Yeah. And in terms of like the list, I don't know. There's a privacy thing too. It's the list on the track of the application form, Patrick. Not sure if we can.
Yeah, we don't want to send that out, but we could potentially send ones that if people have finished, like successfully finished or stopped.
Completed?
Yeah. And
completed. Yeah. And then the ones who've left, you're probably not going to find them on Slack. So if they're not on Slack, they probably have completed. Yeah. Or left. Yeah.
That's a nice way of doing it. Yeah, I'm just interested in finalizing the articles and kind of bringing in new.
Right.
So yeah, I would use those kind of that framework to try and determine it. But Tanay, you have a question?
Yeah, it's not that relevant, but I just want to know why monkeys.
I even have one on my shirt. There's a famous book called Monkey Business from back in like, I think the early 2000s, which was a firsthand account of what it was like to be an investment banking analyst. And I think I read that either right before or right after my analyst stint. I thought it was hilarious. It was a really funny book. And so I think people around the industry would call the analyst monkeys and stuff like that. So that's kind of when we were creating the community initially in 2006. So well, let's make it monkeys. Let's make it funny, like kind of like Monkey Business. And that's how we did it. We had to make it a fun theme.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I highly recommend the book, by the way. Let me see if I can find it. Monkey Business. I'm going on Amazon. I'll link to it right now. You'll have a good laugh. Let's see. It's this one. Swinging Through the Wall Street Jungle. Right up to everyone here. You want to laugh? Here's the book. So you can ask them why monkeys. Yeah, it's a classic. Any other questions or thoughts? Okay. Well, almost exactly an hour. Hopefully that was helpful. Yeah, hope to see you guys again next week. Next week I'll be out, but the week after. And if there's any questions that come up in the meantime, hit us up on Slack or email, and we'll be around. Thanks so much, everybody. Oh, Sarah. Oh, that's a thumbs up. Okay. See you later. Bye, everybody. And thanks to you, my listeners at Wall Street Oasis. If you have any suggestions whatsoever, please don't hesitate to send them my way, Patrick@wallstreetoasis.com. And until next time.